Okay, so for my project, I decided to do an autoethnography and I wanted to observe how each gender reacts or is aware of themselves in public spaces. And I also wanted to see how I am in public places because I never really think about my space or the way I walk or the way I sit. So I thought it would be interesting to observe that. And so I decided to observe this through walking in the path of like males, and then I would walk in the path of females to see who would move out of the way first. So I decided to do 15 each, to be fair, 15 males and 15 girls. And then I walked from like the memory mall to the student union to the library. So I wanted to make sure that I walked in the busiest areas so I had more chance of like walking in front of somebody instead of like having to cross all the way to the other side to be able to do it. And when I would walk, I would make sure to make eye contact with the person first while we're walking each other's paths because I wanted each of us to acknowledge that we knew we were in the way of each other. So I would make eye contact and then I would kind of look away so they would know that maybe I was distracted by something, that maybe they should move out of my way because I wouldn't know to move out of the way. So when I did this with the boys, only 3 out of the 15 moved out of my way. And the 3 out of the 15 that actually moved out of my way, all 3 were on their cell phones. So you would think, oh, on your cell phone you're more distracted, but them being on their cell phone, I think actually made them more aware. They didn't want to run into anybody. So when I would walk in front of their way, they would look up from their cell phone, acknowledge that we might walk into each other if they don't move, and then they would move. And then if I would move again in front of them, they would look up, see that we're in the path again, and then they would purposely move out of the way again. So that was really interesting to me that the only 3 that decided to move out of my way were the ones distracted, while the other 12 of the guys were fully aware. They made eye contact with me. They knew that we were going to collide with each other if one of us didn't move. And out of the 12 that didn't move out of my way, I kept walking literally last minute until I had to like swing out of the way to not collide with them, not like be run over. And then for the 15 girls, 12 moved out of my way and then 3 didn't. And the 12 that did move out of my way, when we made eye contact, immediately they made sure to like purposely move out of my way. Well, the guys, they wouldn't. The 12 that didn't move out of my way for the guys, they didn't move at all. Not even a sidestep. While the girls like immediately eye contact, like made sure to step out of the way. So there was no chance of us walking into each other. So I was really, surprised by that. And before taking this class, I was aware of gender roles in society, but I only ever focused on surface level things, and I never really thought to think about how ingrained it is in everything that we do. And it wasn't until I started reflecting for the project, after observing like the behavior of me walking in front of somebody, I never thought like that I would be the one to move out of the way. I guess I have been this whole time, and that's something I never even realized. And like going back, it's making me think when they started ingraining these things into us, because I think it's more, for me at least, I'm being aware of my space. I want to make sure I'm not in somebody's way. If somebody's walking fast, I want to move out of their way. I always want to be aware of what's around me because, there's people nowadays that do attack women So I'm always aware of things like that. And in elementary school, they always they taught us stranger danger, right? They taught both boys and girls stranger danger. And growing up, as we got older, they sort of stopped teaching boys. I think from that point to stop being like they stopped teaching them how to be aware of their surroundings, and they drilled it more into girls, like, you need to be aware of your surroundings because, somebody grabs you. If somebody grabs you, tries to assault you, you need to make sure to know what's around. If you need to run, is there somebody you can scream to? And then another example of that too is dress code. I remember like my second day of high school, I was sent to the nurse's office because you're not allowed to show shoulders, as that's the dress code for most schools for girls. But I had a shirt that did cover my shoulder, like here, but it didn't have a sleeve completely. So I was sent to the office for my second day in high school to go get a new shirt to, follow the rules because, God forbid, somebody was distracted by my shoulders. I needed to be aware of my body and what I was wearing in case somebody else was distracted because of me. And then also, growing up, my mom always said to me as I got older, you can't go out late at night while my brother could. You can't wear that out because of blah, blah. She never told him these things. She, when he walked out the door, she never said, oh, Lee, beware in case a girl or a guy tries to grab you and, assault you. It's not something that they teach boys as much growing up. So that's another way things are ingrained into gender roles specifically. But the most recent thing that came to my mind was Oxford with my dad on a trip to England, and we wanted to see the college. So, it's busy. It was a school day, and then it's also a tourist attraction. So it was really busy. There were a lot of people walking around, and my dad, he kept I noticed he would stop to look at something, or when he was walking, he was kind of in the way of somebody. So one or two times I kind of pulled him out of the way and said, Dad, you're in the way. Get out of the way. And then the third time I went to do that, he stopped me. He was like, stop doing that. That's annoying. If they wanna walk around me, they can. That annoyed me because I was always aware of my surroundings and I always move out of the way for other people. And that just shows itself how, my dad being a male, he doesn't think why does he need to move out of the way? People can walk around him. He stops in the middle of the street. Why does he need to move to the side to stare at whatever he's staring? If people really need to move, they can just move around him. Well, I was ingrained, no, you need to be aware. You need to do something to please whoever else. So that really, that blew my mind how, recent that was, and how, through observing this whole, public space thing with the genders, how from the very beginning we've been ingrained to, I think girls have been taught to satisfy somebody else, So yeah, moving on from this, I definitely want to be more, I want to break out of these norms, Next, I might not move out of the way for other people. I don't necessarily have to. Or maybe guys should, be held at the same standards. If I have to be aware, so they have to be aware of where they're going. This project was really eye-opening for me, and it definitely made me think outside the box. It gave me a new perspective on things, and I really see how clearly everything is set up for us, for for each gender that society has made. So I'm really thankful so far for this project, and I'm excited to see what else we do in class.